back to my internet history when my kids see this one day.
Oh man, whenever my kids come back and they like listen to these episodes and stuff like that, and they watch like all of this stuff, it's gonna be funny because they're gonna just be like watching, and they're gonna be like, "Dad," and I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "The Spirit of the Lord was inside this crackhead." I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "What was that even about?"
You know your aunt? Yeah, that was the one I did it with.
I'm like, "Yeah, your Aunt Maddie? Yeah."
Your white aunt? Yeah.
So here's
your really white aunt.
Here's the question. So you say aunt?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel about people who say aunt?
So, fun fact. So when I was little and I was learning to read, I had an Aunt Ann, like A-N-N. So my phonetics teacher, because I used to struggle with talking and speaking and writing for the longest time, she would have me say aunt on, because she's like, aunt does not sound proper, especially when you have an and. So I would get so, like, we had this, I just remember this from first grade, and I honestly can't tell you why I remember it. But literally she had me read a book that was on, like, an aunt named Anne. And I got so confused because she wanted me to say aunt on, but I had an Aunt Ann. So I just, like, I don't care if you say it, but it's just, like, if you have an aunt name, like, Andrea or Anne, it feels like just a lot, because it's, like, that's so many syllables, and the same syllable twice that you're like, huh? But, like, I mean, I got no issues with it. I just say aunt because that's how I've heard the majority of the people in my life say aunt, so I'm usual with it.
That was wild from start to finish. That was wild. I was like, oh, how do you? It's like, well, when I was born with dyslexia, and it's like, wait, what? It's like, how do we?
Sorry, you were asking for like a 5-minute answer, and I gave you a whole novella.
You did. You gave me. Oh, speaking of novellas, I need to start watching them again. But you know my rule about
TV shows?
Yes, TV shows. Thank you.
Welcome.
But you know my rule about those, right?
Yeah, you like never watch TV ever.
Yeah, people know. Well, some people know. I think it's like one of those things where if you know, you know, but if you don't, you're like,
you know.
Yeah, if you know, you know, and if you know, you know, you know.
Sorry.
Ooh.
Sorry, that got really intense really quickly.
Oh man, it's always intense. I feel like there's no conversation speaking of, hey guys, welcome to the break. Oh wow, my voice just cracked really bad. Hold up, let me take a sip of this water from my
Let's restart that.
my mason jar with my rubber metal straw.
Okay, scrap that intro. Scrap it. Tell me when you're starting, too.
Okay. Oh, wow. All my metal friends are going to know. Well, I can't even really. Well, all my metal friends are going to get that reference. Anyway, hey guys, welcome to the Breakers of Bread podcast. I'm your host, Detavius Madi. This is amazing. This is great because for the first time in Bob history, I have, it's not the first time that I've had a guest, but this is the first time that I've done a call-in, and I have a very special, very, very, very special, I keep repeating things a lot. I think something's wrong.
But it's totally fine.
It is. It's completely fine. But I have a very special guest today. This is a very important person in my life and very important in general. God's gift to the earth, and if you think otherwise, then you're going to just have to see these hands in the hands of Armageddon as well, because that's just how it's going to have to go down. Her name is Madison, and she is one of the most intelligent people I know, wisdom-wise, which says a lot because I have I know a lot of wise people and a lot of intelligent people, but wisdom, I think, in my opinion, is harder to come by rather than intelligence. Because wisdom is almost just a natural gift. Like you either have it or you don't, and you can ask for it from God or, whatever you believe in. But it's one of those things where, it's not something you come around every every day. So she is very, very important for many other reasons rather than her wisdom. But yes, so say hi, Maddie.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I wish I could be there in person with you, but thank you for letting me come on your podcast. I know we talked about this for a little bit. We joked about it for a while.
We did.
We had a call pretty much like this week, and he was like, "Yeah, you want to do this podcast?" I'm like, "Sure."
So we did it.
So first off,
yes.
Yeah. So first off, I just want to say thank you because I know that your creative outlets you're very like protective of, and you want it to be the best it possibly can be. So I feel really honored to be on this podcast. Second off, thank you so much. Your words were so kind. And third off, you are literally one of my best friends. Like ride or die. We're gonna be knowing each other when we're both old and have like kids and all of this stuff in the future. We're gonna be like, hey, remember when we did that together? But I think you're amazing. You know that. I think you are so talented. I think God has put just such a huge calling on your life, and I'm honored to know you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I am currently actually wearing the gift that you gave me when you came back from Kenya. I am. I'm wearing it right now. It's one of the best things ever. I absolutely love this thing. I pretty much never, when I'm sitting down, I never create without it. Like it's either on the back of my chair or it's on my shoulders. Like it's always near me. It stays on me. It stays on me at all times. If I could take it out more, I would, but I'm always scared that something's going to happen. And so I have to keep it in like my safe space so that like nothing can transpire and like attack it or something like that. But yeah. We are here. We are large, or what is it? Loud and proud, large and in charge. That's it.
Loud and proud.
I was like, loud and proud? Nah, large and in charge. I could not remember what it was for the life of me. I always get scared about iPhones with this one thing. You know how like when you press the power button, it sometimes like hangs up the call.
Yeah.
So like sometimes it happens even when you're not in the phone app. So you'll be sitting. Yes. It randomly happens, but I'll be chilling and then I'll like click the power button and then I'm like, hey, are you there? And they're like, I'm like, hey, what? And I'm like, oh, I hung up. Hold up. And then I call back. They're like, my feelings were hurt because we were in such a good conversation and then you just hung up.
I'm like, so we were talking about talkies.
Yeah, I know, right?
Calm down.
I know, right? Oh my gosh. Oh man. But today it was like I guess a couple things that. Well, first of all, there's a lot of things that we talk about like all the time. Like we talk about things frequently.
Oh, 100%.
But
whenever I like even text or call you, because we never really text. Like if we're talking to each other, we're either on the phone or like FaceTiming occasionally. But we're not big texters other than like, hey, just checking in. Hey, you good? You good? Or like praying for you, love you, Pat. Like just that. But literally, our conversations will be 20 minutes to 2 hours, and we'll either talk about like super deep what we think, like how we think God is, and like just learning more about Him and kind of sharing with each other like what we're going through of like, hey, I'm learning this about God. Hey, I'm learning this about God.
Yeah.
Or we will literally be talking about like the Mandela effect or something. Like we spent a 45-minute conversation in one time just talking about the Mandela effect and looking up stuff.
Yes.
And tell each other, did you see that? Did you see that? So our conversations vary drastically.
They do. It's just ever changing and ever growing. I think my favorite one right now, besides the Mandela effect, is the fact that it's one that we actually recently just came up on, and it's I can feel the spirit of the Lord in these crackheads.
Oh gosh.
But we won't talk about that too much. Actually, there was something specific that I actually had in mind because the funny thing is, as you guys know, this is the Breakers of Bread podcast, and the inspiration of the name actually came from the fact that Jesus broke bread with a lot of people. But the funny thing is, and I'll also be, well, by the time they hear this part, I'll actually have already made the part that I'm about to talk about, and then they'll understand like why I'm like talking about it. But at this point, I will be making like more of a like a little side note, because I haven't released a lot of episodes in a while. I haven't released any episodes at all, and I've been busy for the past, like, I guess 2 months. I haven't been on social media that much, actually, at all. I haven't really been doing a lot. Yeah, I've been ghosting. There's a lot
I
of.
haven't been on social media much. Hasn't posted in a year and a half.
You should get back on and start like posting about your spirit-filled adventures on the.
I can't be hating on you either, because I have not posted since June 18th. And in the past, 3 months, I went to Africa, graduated, started college, done a bunch of stuff that most people would post about. And now I'm just I'm not going to post it. I can't be hating, so.
I wouldn't even be surprised if you're like, hey, I started a nonprofit and I'm going around the world with Greta the next weekend, and we're just gonna be doing stuff. I'm like, okay, that's the word up. Okay, I think if there's anyone that is more low key than I am, that isn't a celebrity, I think you are probably the only person that I can say is more low key. I truly don't know anyone else that is more low key. And I think I know, people try, they try their hardest to be low key. And they're like, yeah, I just can't do it. I'm like, you just, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. Just ask Maddie for an ebook. She could break it down. But, yeah, but I'm back. We are back. And I think I have 2 more episodes to record, and then I'll be releasing everything and whatnot, which I'm doing them all this week, I think. But what I was saying was I actually haven't done an episode centered around more so, I guess, centered around Jesus. And it's really funny because it's this, I guess the podcast isn't centered around Jesus. Now it's centered around, I guess, more of the moral code of what he's implemented in my life and kind of the things that I stand on spiritually and whatnot. But at the same time, he was not a person that, I guess, in a sense, quote unquote, played by the rules. And so it's that's why this thing is so open. That's why I'm nah, I want some witches on this podcast. I'm scared because they might put a hex on me, but I'll take the risk. I'm trying to learn. I'm like, how do you do that?
Don't worry, I'll just be praying the entire time.
Appreciate it.
For the essential oils of the Lord.
I know, right? You about to get the soccer mom essential oils and lay it on me. In the name of Jesus. Oh
my gosh. The soccer mom essential oils.
I could sell a whole line of that stuff. But yes, so I think more so in this podcast, I know I've said so many things thus far now, but the biggest reason that I actually made this podcast, as some people may know, is because I wanted to actually get insight and perspective and hear other people, because I prayed a prayer last year that I wanted to listen more and speak less. And I've been doing that a lot this year, and I still want to do that next year. I want to keep doing that. I think, and if that's the thing that makes this podcast grow, I think that would be the best thing ever, because it's not centered around anything, and yet it's centered around I guess it's centered in everything, but it's not centered around anything. And so, I guess more so now, I'll start off, but I wanted to hear your thoughts on all the different things, I guess that's rattling in my mind, and then kind of just, you know how we do.
Yeah.
So for starters, let's see, what was I doing? I was doing something the other day, and I randomly just popped up on this, it was a verse or something like that. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. But, that's what. Okay. So I was listening to a sermon the other day, and they were talking about prayer, and everyone is always just we're trying to figure prayer out. We're like, what is prayer? How do you pray? What is it? Da, 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 da. And, the 3 things that they were preaching about was, it was intentionality, character, and then basically, how do you get what you pray for? And just the perspective around that was it was just crazy. I was like, man, this is one of the most amazing sermons I think I've heard about prayer in a while. which is so funny because it's like, that's such a cliche thing to say about like every sermon. It's like, oh, this sermon just spoke to me. It's one of the most amazing sermons I've ever heard. And it's like, okay, you said that about last week's sermon. Okay, but it was.
No, but it's true.
Yeah,
it's really true.
But I guess it's a testament that like we're getting better at explaining things and and all that jazz. But I kind of wanted to hear your thoughts about prayer and kind of your prayer life and how you've been able to I guess navigate in a world that, this is also a thing. Like, how do you navigate as a Christian in a world where we're constantly saying our thoughts and prayers, and kind of like, where do prayers fit into that? And kind of like, how do we as believers and also people step up to do more, but also still establish prayer as such a priority?
Yeah. Gosh, that's honestly a great question. For myself, and I'm just speaking on my own behalf and kind of my experience of what God's been teaching me, especially in this last 2 years, where I've, to give a preface, I've loved Jesus all of my life. I have been a Christian since I was 5 years old. I gave my life to Christ in Bible school, Bible Sunday mornings. Why can't I think of it? Or Sunday school.
Sunday school, that's it.
Sunday school with Veggie Tales. I grew up in that world, so all I've known my whole life, and my parents are amazing examples of this, but it's just surrendering all to Jesus. And prayer, especially for me, what it looks like is it's just a conversation, and really recently it's become that, whereas before I felt like I had to bow my head, close my eyes, make sure my heart is pure, make sure everything is perfect in my life before I can pray, because if I'm not perfect, then God won't listen to my prayers. And this whole spiral, and I loved God my whole life, and I knew he was nothing but good and had the best for me. But Wade Joy, who preached the sermon this past weekend or 2 weekends ago, he preached a sermon where this was a minute detail of it, but it's changed the way that I've been praying over the past 2 weeks. And he's like, it's just a conversation with God.
Yeah.
It's bringing every emotion that I'm feeling to him and saying, God, I feel upset, or I feel frustrated, or I feel happy, and I feel great, but I'm going to bring it to you in prayer because I want to have this relationship.
Yeah.
So I don't think prayer, absolutely, it's amazing to bow your head and close your eyes. That is making it a priority and setting, putting all of your focus on God. But especially recently with me, driving now and, going to work and things like that, I've used the car time as prayer, and driving there and home and while I'm working, a bunch of stuff. But it's just a conversation, and a lot of the times it starts with, hey, God, it's Maddie. I feel blank. I feel overwhelmed. I feel tired. I feel awesome. I feel amazing. I feel kind of in between. I don't know how to feel. And I just talked to him honestly and openly about what I was going through, because I know he hears everything. I know he knows my heart. He knows what I'm feeling. He created me. He hand created me, so he's going to know what I'm going through no matter what.
Yeah.
He's going to know what I'm thinking. So it's ridiculous to try to hide my intentions or to try to hide any feelings in my heart from him. It's ridiculous, because not all emotions are good, and not all emotions are something you should dwell on.
Mm-hmm.
But a great way for me, especially recently, to get out any anger or frustration or hurt or sadness is just, hey, God, I'm just really upset, and I don't know if I should be, but I'm going to bring it to you because I don't know who else to bring it to. And I know if I bring my emotions to you and I bring my heart to you, that my heart's in good hands.
Yeah.
And you created it so you can hold it. Just that act of surrender of, bringing it all to Jesus, and then just being honest of, my day was awesome because X, Y, and Z, or my day was horrible because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And just being able to do that has been so freeing, and I really feel like my relationship, just even in the past 2 weeks, feels like I'm closer to God, and I can feel his presence all around me. And not to make that super spiritual or super deep. Trust me, I have my moments where I'm like, oh, Lord, forgive me for that.
It's Jesus, art thou mad at me? Lord, I needeth thine permission and forgiveness. Please, God.
Father, forgive me. I know what I did. But the whole thoughts and prayers thing, because that has been a really big thing, unfortunately, in the past 2 years. Well, not even in just the past 2 years, but I feel like through social media and through just a lot more spread of cameras and phones and access to everything. Like, we see tragedy and horrible things come up. I don't want to say 24/7, but pretty consistently.
Yeah, back to back.
You pretty much can go on Twitter or Instagram right now and find out about something horrible happening. And I completely think it's amazing when people say thoughts and prayers to like X, Y, or Z, or thoughts and prayers to any tragedy. But to bet, like, it's so hard because sometimes there's not something you can do, and sometimes there's moments that no action or no word will ever justify or give peace to what happened, because only God can do that.
Yeah.
So I understand where people are coming from, of like frustration behind thoughts and prayers when people are like trying to actively help the community or do anything about it.
Yeah.
But I think it's when people are really trying to grow and be better and do better with different organizations and try to help in any way that they can, that thoughts and prayers are something so powerful.
Yeah.
Because I've seen the power of prayer in my own life firsthand. I've seen God heal me before because I said something and because I prayed to Him. So I absolutely recognize the power of thoughts and prayers. I think that there's something amazing when we actively like speak out to God of like, Jesus, I need your help with this. Like, something amazing happens.
Yeah.
But sometimes also as Christians, it's our job to go out and help where we can and be the hands and feet of Jesus. So
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
I think that's my whole thoughts on thoughts and prayers. And it might change as I learn more about God, but right now that's kind of what He's teaching me.
Yeah, I love it. Man, that was beautiful. I absolutely love that.
You know?
I think I had to double straw this one because this one was intense. I was like, yeah, nah, I'm definitely gonna double straw this episode. But yeah, I love that. That was amazing. That was beautiful from start to finish. I mean, I couldn't have asked for more. Honestly, I'd never have to ask for more. That's a great thing. Ooh, burp.
Yeah.
But I had a an air bubble come up through my chest. That's so weird, thinking about burps. It's like, why the heck is this air bubble conforming in my, not conforming, but I guess convulging in my chesticles, and it's like
conformed into my lungs. I don't need medical attention.
But the Lord says, "No weapon formed against me shall prosper." Oh man, yeah. I've recently. Oh, that was the ice machine. I swear these headphones, like this mic and these headphones, are a terrible combo for little noises or just noises in a house. If your house like rattles or anything, don't start a podcast in your house. Start anywhere else, but don't start it in your house, because the second your headphones come on and that mic is up, you will hear everything. I can hear my ancestors speaking to me through this mic right now. It
suddenly becomes an ASMR channel.
I know, right? I'm like, hey guys, hello. Today we're going to be doing Burgers and Bread ASMR. And then I'm just like peeling back Panera Bread and just like, but yeah, I've noticed a lot in the past, especially in the past year. The Amazon, I think, was the one that was the biggest for me seeing it, or not the Amazon, but a couple shootings, and then Notre Dame. And actually, no, not even Notre Dame. I think, yeah, the Amazon, and then a couple of shootings where I had saw like people were like, yo, like we don't, like we're tired of thoughts and prayers. Like, we want action. Like, we need action to happen. And then like a part of me was just like, I understand that. Like, I 100% understand and agree with where you're coming from. And of course, the other side of me was still like, I may not post about it, I may not, say that much about it, but I'm definitely still going to be praying. I'm definitely going to keep this directly in my thoughts, because I don't want it to, I don't want it to
just fade away.
Yeah, I don't want it to fade away. I don't want it to go anywhere. I want this to be constantly pressuring me. I want this to constantly be puncturing my heart. I want this to always be bothering me, because I never want this issue to become just basically numb. I never want to become numb to it. I never want it to just, like you said, fade away. And if it's constantly just putting pressure on me, I have to acknowledge it. And I I think one of the things that really got me, because recently I've been doing a lot of, instead of like, I guess more so stopping prayer or whatnot, like praying differently. I've been praying differently a lot, and I've been changing a lot of internals, like intentionality and just checking my heart, but also changing the direction of where I'm trying to get my prayers to go. So instead of like, for instance, and this might even be like, I wouldn't say touchy, but like weird, where it's like, instead of saying, God, I want to be able to send money to like efforts in like the Amazon, or like the things that are going on in Sudan, or the things that are going on in Hong Kong. Now it's more so like, while that's still important, it's like, give me the wisdom to know the moves that I need to make next, or give me the wisdom, or give me the opportunity to be, like hands and feet down with those people, or just, where is it that I need to push my efforts towards? Because obviously there's always going to be somewhere that those efforts need to go. And so,
Absolutely.
maybe in that moment, and then, for some people, it's like, no, we need all the help that we can get. I'm like, what if I'm pushing my efforts in the wrong place? And some might say like, there's no wrong place to put your efforts. But at the end of the day, it's like, I would never ask a wide receiver to play a quarterback's role. I would always want them to play the role that they could play. And if they can do it, and they can do it well, and they're requested in that position, 100% go for it. But I want to make sure.
If someone's way more equipped to do like fill a position or do something for God, far be it from me to stand in the way because of my own pride, or because I want the title that I did it, rather than someone who could have had more influence or more help. Because in the end, like, thinking long term, and again, going really Christian here, the more that it points back to Jesus and points to the one who is above time and space, the Alpha and the Omega, the more that it points back to him, regardless of, like, I don't need the credit. I don't need the credit as long as it points back to Jesus.
Credit is for Chuck E. Cheese. That's all that is. I don't need credit.
Dave and Buster's.
Yeah, no, I don't need credit. I don't need credit at all. All that's that Chuck E. Cheese stuff right there. Which, if you make art and you request credit, those people, they need to give you credit. Credit in the art world is important, but
credit your art.
Credit. If like, I'm actually working on a project currently, and there's a couple elements that I've used from people who created some stuff, and I do plan on giving them credits, because I'm like, I couldn't have made this without you. And, I downloaded your resources. You made these resources for whatever reason. So you deserve credit, because you, in a sense, contributed to what I did to make this thing happen. But yeah, I would definitely like to see more, I would love to see more action, but I understand that the power of prayer is a necessity, and we've seen it a million times. And it's one of those things that even goes against doubt. And it's one of the hardest places to be, is like, do I need to continue even with, the doubt that surrounds this, or do I actually need to take a step forward? Because sometimes it's like, the worst thing to do is to take a step forward, and the best thing to do is to take a step back. Like, I would hate to have one shield bearer just run into battle, and the next thing you know, it's like, you're gone, and we needed that shield, and we needed you, and now you're not here. But especially thinking long term, one of the things that kind of hurts is the fact that, like, and I think this is one of the reasons that some people say thoughts and prayers, is because they feel helpless, and they're like, I can't do anything, and the only thing I can offer is thoughts and prayers. And so it's like the intentionality, and this was, one of those things that, it was Joe Smith. I was like, what's his name, Joe? Yeah, Joe Smith of Mosaic. He was preaching about prayer. But it was, when he was talking about intention, it was one of the things that I thought about. And I was like, I always hope that my intentions are pure, but I also want to make sure that whatever I say, that intentionality is always received on the other side. And if it's not, then that means that instead of something being wrong with what I said or how I said it, there's something wrong with the other party and how they received it. But I also want to make sure that I'm never saying something that, even with the purest thoughts, could come as insensitive. Like, someone might have just, lost a close one, or something could happen. And then the first thing I say is like, hey, I'm really sorry to hear that. Thoughts and prayers. And it's like, I
I
want
think
you.
it just depends on the situation too, because like I'll use the example of the Amazon here. Like, of course, I can donate finances and resources like that. That's an awesome way, and that is super helpful if it's like if you know it's going to this exact charity. You know what I mean? Like that is amazing. If you have like a cause, or if you're giving money to a local organization, like that's awesome. And you say $1,000 first, that's awesome. But there's like, again, using the example of the Amazon, it's not like I can just jump on a plane and go to the Amazon and go on the ground with them. You know what I mean? Like that's just that's, I don't want to say that's not possible, but that's just out of my realm of what I can do without dumping all of my responsibilities and the way I'm carrying what God's called me to here in the USA and in Raleigh. That's the only thing, like sometimes that's all I can do. And of course you do get this sense of helplessness, because it's like I feel like I should be doing more.
Yeah.
But I have learned, and what God is teaching me is if I'm doing something in my local community to make it better, or if I'm like trying to make my world and the people around me and the people who I interact with on a daily basis, if I'm trying to be better for them, and if I'm trying to just become the best version of myself while giving back, while going out in the community and doing amazing, amazing things, like I think that's amazing. And I think that needs to be celebrated more, because even this past summer, I had a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to just go and love on some girls at a girls' club, and that might have changed their world for them. And I'm not going to be so, like, I'm very humble of, like, they probably don't remember me, and it's fine. But let's be real, it's like, it was not that big of a deal. We played a game of kickball.
They'll think about you in like 2 years. They'll be like, I remember that girl that we played kickball with. Yeah.
Yeah. But like that made their day better.
Yeah.
And it was hot and sweaty in the auditorium. And we were all loud, but we played kickball. We had an amazing community, and I just got to be a positive influence on those little girls' lives. Yeah. Who might not have always had that little positivity. And that means more to me than anything else.
Yeah, 100%.
Again, I don't think I'm not trying to be someone I'm not, and say like I'm a saint and you will see me listening to Christian music 24/7, because let's be real, there's days when I'm like I'm listening to like Miley Cyrus, Ariana Grande. I'm like no, I just need to put on like no. But it's trying to be the best version of yourself, and doing that through Jesus and saying, hey God, I know you created me to be someone amazing, so I'm going to try to live that out, whatever that looks like, and I'm going to do my best, not only just for you, because of course I want to do my best for Jesus,
100%,
but also for the people around me. Because if I make myself better, then I'm able to encourage better. I'm able to love better. I'm able to just be better for the people in my life. Yeah.
Oh man, yes. And here's even a perspective for the listeners and whatnot. If let's say that everyone just dropped what they were doing and just ran to whatever emergency that there was. There's so much responsibility that we all carry as people. And of course, this is thinking about also what we can do, like you said, like donating and whatnot. But let's just take a second. Let's imagine that all of us did that. Whether it was donating or whether it was just, getting on the first plane and just heading out. We still also have lives that we need to operate in, and we need to, exist in, and we need to do our best in, because if we're not doing our best in those lives, the lives that we are entrusted to live out, then we can't really do much of anything for others that exist outside of our realm of living. And the best way that we can help those who are outside is to better ourselves inside, so that we can actually get the capability and have the ability to operate outside. Because like people who are able to go on mission trips all the time, they're able to do that because of the fact that, whatever they do in their personal lives allows them to do that. And, now that is a part of their personal life. And so I think that there should be a little less pressure to act. And yes, the situation is dire and we need to fix things like 100% ASAP. Like there's a lot of things. I mean, I could go down a list of tragedies, but even starting from the smaller things like health, like, yes, it would be great if everyone was healthy tomorrow, but you know, we need to still, like, we would never have fitness trainers if they never took the time to get into fitness themselves and really dedicate, you know, their time personally, where they were like, no, I need to figure this out for me specifically, because I can't do this for anyone else if I can't even do it for myself. And then from there, they were able to train numbers of people. Like, you can't go through a week really without knowing of a fitness trainer. You can't. And that's a great thing to know.
Especially if you're on Instagram.
Oh my God. Just don't even get me started. But the pressure to always, and I think social media has made this pressure to just be great. Like, it's made this pressure to always act because everything is instant. And I will say it like this, for all my people who are ramen enthusiasts, sometimes you just don't need to be instant noodles. You just need to actually just be a chef in the back of a nice Asian restaurant and just appreciate the craft. Like, appreciate how it comes together, because when you serve it, it is going to be so amazing.
Both, like, chef-made ramen and instant ramen is good. It's
delicious.
Just different situations.
Oh yeah. 100%. But we won't talk about thoughts and prayers anymore. I know people are like, thoughts and prayers. But I do, one of the things that I actually have been very interested in was, I guess, well, two things I would say, and that's kindness and I guess antisociality, and this, I guess, the stigma that surrounds social media and how we just don't really know authentic kindness anymore. And granted, it's like one of the, actually, I would say we know how to identify it, and we know, I guess, how to, it's weird now that I'm thinking about this. So social media has presented to us every authentic side of a box that it can. And yet somehow, some way, we still know how to be inauthentic, and we still don't know when an inauthenticity is like on a rise and whatnot. And it's just like identifying that. And so, like, for me, like, kindness has been one of the things that I'm trying to, like, do more of, which is weird because it's like, well, Detavius, you are kind. And it's like, kind of, but I think it's, it comes from wanting to make sure that when I step outside of this season, I'm still in a way the same kindness that I think I am in my mind, or I want to be a better kindness than I am in my mind, and making sure I'm not like a very soft critic. So what do you think about like this day and age's kindness, and kind of like how it's playing out into the realm of just like the entirety of the world?
Kindness is a virtue.
Yeah,
I'll start off
Lord.
with that. Kindness is not, for some people, it comes very, very fluidly and naturally, and it's very easy for them. Other times, people have to practice it. And not saying, like, of course you want to be a kind human being, but if you have to teach yourself to be kind, the fact that you're trying to teach yourself is a great thing, first off. So to encourage the person who's listening to this, like, I'm trying to be kind, but, like, am I being kind? I can't tell. I think, like, to that person, yes, you are still doing good. You are doing amazing. In fact, you are trying to be kind. You're trying to be a better person. You're amazing. I think you're awesome.
Yeah.
But kindness is something that looks different in each season, and I think it's really interesting of how it changes. Because what my kindness looked like in one season, it doesn't necessarily look the same. It's still very consistent.
Yeah.
But it just changes forms. Of like before, when I didn't have like a job, when I didn't have as much time, like kindness looked like sending a text message or making a video or making like checking in with someone. Hey, are you okay? How are you doing? Like, I love you. I'm proud of you. But now kindness can look a little different for me. Like, I can take someone out to dinner. I can drive to someone's house. I can do a babysitting job for them if they just need a date night. Like, kindness looks different in each season. And I think that's when it becomes inauthentic, is when it's not the kindness for your season, but you try to force it to be.
Yeah.
And, like, that, it's kind of hard to explain. your kindness depends on your season, and I don't want to say, like, I don't want that to sound as harsh as it does, because someone might take that and say, like, oh, well, if kindness depends on my season, then I'm just in a bad season, so I don't have to be kind.
I'm gonna be a butthole the next season.
Jesus has called us to be kind, okay?
Yes.
Let's start there. And it's something so hard to, like, ask, because I'm one of the people who I'd like to think it came a little naturally to me, of I've been on the side where people have not been kind to me before.
Yeah.
So I know what it's like to be on the other side of that. So I want to make sure if someone's around me, I never want them to feel like I am not being kind or paying attention or caring about them.
Yeah.
So I think kindness is an empathy that you really have to work on and build throughout your life, because everyone starts like I was saying earlier, where some people it comes supernaturally, some people it doesn't.
Yeah.
Even to the people who it comes supernaturally to, like, you have to build it, because too much kindness and you feel inauthentic. You know what I mean? Like, I think you're amazing. I think your hair looks wonderful. I think, like, just complimenting and constantly being almost like a suck up a little bit.
Yeah.
That's how it can come across. I don't like that. That might seem inauthentic to some people, but be really authentic. But kindness looks like knowing boundaries with the person and knowing how to best, just really reading the person. That sounds weird. Like, why do you have to read a person to be kind to them? But
yeah.
I wouldn't be kind, like, the way I treat, or not, I don't want to say the way I treat, but the way I'm kind to different people looks different.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to use my mom and my dad as an example, because they can't get too mad at me, and if they can, I'll do laundry and apologize. But the way I'm kind to my mom looks different than the way I'm kind to my dad. The way I'm kind to my dad is I try to be the most honoring daughter I can be. If I know he's having a rough day, I'll bring him home something from work. If his car, like, if I'm leaving his car, I make sure to get all the trash out, because I know he hates trash in his car. Or I'll have a playlist ready for him that's titled Dad's Playlist that makes him cry, but it's fine.
Oh, man.
Those little acts of kindness throughout the day. Whereas my mom, I know her mornings are always stacked, so if I can just have a cup of coffee ready for her, and if I can, like, small gestures that when you know a person makes all the difference, and being kind in that way. Because being kind to strangers on a surface level looks very similar. Like, hey, how are you doing? Are you doing okay? Like, I hope you're having a great day. Thank you so much. Just having kind of basic manners. But kindness with people who you know looks very, very different. Of, like, my current leaders who are who lead me at church on Sunday. I'm not going to treat my youth director the same way I'm going to treat Preston. And that's not to say I value one or the other higher. And Preston Stack, by the way, is the campus pastor of my church. Probably just like,
wow, peace sticks, Preston! Preston! Peace sticks, Preston!
You're awesome. We think you're awesome. We just think you're cool. You have a great family. Like, you guys are the best. But
we miss the blonde hair. Well, I miss the blonde hair. Other people might not, but I do.
But the way I'm kind to Adam looks different than the way I'm kind to Preston. Because the way I'm kind to Preston is I try to honor his family, or I try to honor him the best way I know how to.
Yeah.
But being kind with Adam looks a little different, because I have more insight into, like, his life and with his wife and how to best honor him. And, like, I know his favorite Red Bull flavor. I know, like, hey, he really loves doing this, or he really does not like doing this, or this might be a little overwhelming, so if I just do this, it might make things a little blank.
Yeah.
It's just different levels of, it really comes down to knowing the person.
Yeah.
And social media has made, I don't want to say has made, I'm not trying, I am not an expert. Let me say that out of the way. I am not an expert. I don't claim to be any expert. I'm 18. I'm figuring life out myself. Like, this is coming from a Christian who's trying to figure life out and keep it all together.
Pretty much.
But social media's kindness has made it almost very generic and very, like, expected. So when kindness isn't there, it goes viral.
Yes.
But it's not really truly highlighted when it is.
Yeah. The cancel culture and stuff like that. I'm like, dang. But that's a whole different can of worms. It sounds like kindness is about honoring a person, and just, if you know how to honor them, then you can be kind to them.
That's what has always been explained to me. And I've always wanted to be an honoring person. Like, when you come around me, like, I want you to feel warm and cared for and listened to and heard. And Like, that's the kind of person I want to be. I want to be someone who is just, like, not that you never see me having a bad day, but I'm always authentic, but I'm always willing and open, and I want to help as much as I can.
Yeah.
I know you hate Enneagrams, and if you have an aversion to them, but I am an Enneagram 2 through and through. I'm a nurturer. I'm a carer. I'm a person who, like, I'm very empathetic. So honor and kindness and empathy all kind of go hand in hand in my life, and honor is the currency of the kingdom, which I'm not going to take credit for saying that. That was Stephen Webb and Greg Bosch who said that. That is not Madi Bush. I'm not claiming I said that.
Credit.
That is
Credit.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. No, I'm like, Slab, that is all you. That is all you, Mr. Bosch. And if someone else said it before, I'm sorry, but those are the two people who always told me it. So sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh man, love it. Yeah, kindness is it's a very interesting thing, and one of the things that I've kind of come to realize is that kindness is natural, and I know this because I've heard a lot of people be taken advantage of. And so, what does that denote? It basically says you have to go out of your way not to be, because if you only see someone as an object, it's like, how did you get to that point? And
like, who hurt you to begin with?
Yeah. Or, what made you so desperate to feel like you had to use people to get to where you needed to be? Even though there's just about 7 billion, I think there's now 7 billion people on the planet. Hold up, let's check.
I feel like I've heard that. That's accurate, I think.
Yeah, it because there was 6 billion.
It's a large number.
Yeah, it was like
a very large number of people.
Yeah, are in the world current. Oh, okay. So as of 2018, there was 7,655,957,369. As of 2019, it went up to 7.7 billion. So yeah, we have a lot of people.
I'm impressed that you said that number all the way through, because I would have just said like 7.2, because like million, 100,000, like your girl struggles with that.
I absolutely love numbers, both the book and the numbers in general.
See what you did there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love numbers. I love finding new things out about math, but it can't come with a grade. Like, it can't be something that's like situational, that like if I don't do it, then like all hell will break loose. Like, it has to be like, hey, you want to learn pre-calculus? Like, sure, why not? It's like, all right, cool. Here's some books. Like, you can learn it. Like, if you read through it, you can learn it in like 3 weeks. I'm like, cool. But they're like, hey, this is going to be for a grade. You have 2 years to figure out pre-cal. I'm like, you can might as well give me an F right now, because I ain't going through one of those pages at all. Like that,
I will not pick up that textbook.
Absolutely not. Yeah, absolutely not. But yeah, it's weird to think about how people, like, there's 7.7 billion people on this earth, and yet you can't use enough people to get to the top. Like, there will never be a number there's never going to be a number that you can use to get to the top. And I mean this not in a sense of like, oh, you have to keep doing it to get to the top. No, like, you never will get to the top. You never will.
Because you'll never be satisfied.
Nah, you won't. And even without satisfaction, the reality of it is that there is a top that people just really won't get to. And, it's like, there's so many different tops. Like, if you're at the top of your game, you're not going to be at the top of another, because someone else is there. Like, for instance, Serena Williams, she is like basic, like the statue for women's tennis right now. Like, she is, that, like, people think Serena Williams, tennis, Roger Federer, people like them. Like, I'm trying to think of, as funny as this is, Tom Brady, LeBron James, Kobe. And those are just sports. Like Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, Elon Musk. Like, just, there's so many different people.
Jeff Bezos, like these giant names in the industry. And their best days look 100% different.
Yeah. And it's like,
because the workout Serena Williams does is not the workout that LeBron James is going to do.
Nah. And
but also the workout that Elon Musk does and the business that he does, Jeff Bezos is not going to do the same thing.
Absolutely not. And it's like, they might have similar things that they do, but those are so many, those are just examples of people at the top, and no one can get to all those tops. There's like, not to say that no one can get to every, like all of them or eat individually, but you can't occupy every single one of those tops. You can't, and you can't use people to get to that point. And so when it comes to things like that, people have to understand that like community is such a big thing, but kindness is, you know, even bigger. And it sucks because like now it feels like you have to be unkind to rise to power because people want to take advantage of you. But I think truly in every heart, kindness is natural. It takes a very unnatural heart for kindness not to be a natural thing. Now, just because it's natural does not mean that it will be great, because we've seen that apples come from, you know, rotten apples will pop up on a good tree. That's a natural thing.
Absolutely.
Doesn't mean that it's great. So not to say that even people who are, you know, different, quote unquote, are going, you know, they're going to be a couple people that are just, whether they're rude or whatever. And it's like, it seems as if unnaturally, those people are just not kind, or naturally those people aren't kind, but it's a very unnatural thing. Like I've seen it so many times where I'm like, I don't think that being unkind is natural. Like it just can't be.
Oh, no.
It's like because
it's hurt building up. That's what it is. If someone has hurt you or something along the lines has hurt you so deeply that you internalize that and you're living in that hurt of, well, X and X wasn't kind to me. And you might say, no, that's not true. Like, no one ever taught me to be kind. And like, it's like, oh. But when you were 5 years old, you learned to share.
Yeah.
And you wanted to please everybody when you were 5 years old. Like, kids are naturally kind, which, again, a lot of people might be like, my kid's not naturally kind, but
my kid is violent.
my kid is horrible. Don't speak that over your kid.
I know, right?
Don't speak that into existence. B, that's something that, like, it's internal. So even if you don't realize it, it's something along the lines. Hurt people hurt people.
They
that's
do.
What my mom told me when because I was really badly bullied for several years of my life.
It's crazy to think that.
By different people.
I'm like, who would bully Maddie? Like, who would even consider knowing that Sarah and Matt Bush are your parent? First of all, but like, it's Madison. Like, come on.
But honestly, like, A, thank you so much. I really thank you. But B, I'm happy it happened, and I can say that almost 4 years after it happened.
Yeah.
I can say I'm happy about it. Because I wouldn't have the empathy for people. I wouldn't have the heart for people who stood out because they look different or because they're like a little weird.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have the heart for them that I do if I hadn't gone through that. So of course it hurts and of course it sucks. But that's the whole thing with kindness is I made the choice not to let their words dictate what the rest of my life would look like.
Yeah.
And how I treated others. Because I said that's going to end with me. Their hurt does not get to continue through me.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm really, really passionate about is when people, like, I'm not trying to be, if you ever taken the Myers-Briggs test, I am an INFJ, so I'm an advocate naturally, so I have a huge heart for, like, see the people who aren't seen, like, give them a hug, give them affection, like, there's some points where, like, I have to tone it down a little bit.
Oh man.
I would rather be the person that's overly kind and they're like, she's like really nice. Like, what's going on? Versus the person who's like, she's not it. Like,
yeah.
She's drunk. Like, I never want to be that person. And I never want the way someone's treated me or the way I internalize something to be the cause of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The easiest way to find out if someone's bitter or not is just to be kind to them. You don't have to share any exciting news or anything. Just be kind. And that's when you can find out if someone's bitter or unhappy. Because, you know, like, if they're truly bitter, they will respond bitterly. And if they're truly unhappy, they won't respond happily. Like, why would you? Like, what, are you just bitter? And then one day you're like, you know what? I think I'm going to be happy. Like, I'm not bitter right now. No, you're probably going to say something with some bitterness. But if you're... And even if you feel bitter, but you're not actually truly bitter and someone's kind to you, you'll see how quickly you switch up. And then you'll probably go back to being bitter like right after they leave, which is a completely different story. But you'll notice that that bitterness went away because of that kindness. And that says something. That definitely says a lot. But
yeah. Well, even when you're nice to people, like, again, I work at a job where my main priority is customer service.
What's the name of that job called?
I'm not. Detavius?
What's it called?
What's wrong with you?
What is
Detavius?
it? What's that place? I feel like I've heard about.
You worked there.
I'm pretty. What I have?
We're keeping this podcast G-rated. I love my job. It's wonderful. My general manager and my owner are wonderful. Excuse me, sir.
I'm not gonna now listen, y'all. I'm not gonna front like that job was like the worst thing ever, because it wasn't. It was fun.
It was wonderful.
Yes.
We had a great time. That's where we became best friends.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. Well, we were. Yeah, that's when we definitely
we were friends before. But
yeah,
you were
for
in
sure.
Internship, and you were at a different campus than I was. So
running around like a chicken with its legs cut off. Basically, I just had to fly.
That's not the expression.
I had to fly. I had to fly a lot.
That is not the expression.
It's not, but that's what happened with me. That's how I felt. My head was not cut off. My head was perfectly where it was. It was my legs that I couldn't use.
Oh, gosh.
Hey, I flapped my wings like a chicken, okay? I flapped my wings like a chicken, and then I became an eagle. Don't hate.
I'm not hating. I'm just saying it's not the expression. Use the correct terminology, sir.
I'm a creative. What did you expect? That's like asking P-Stacks to use the right expression when he uses an expression, but he like remixes it. It's just.
But he doesn't use the wrong expression.
Okay, listen. That might have been a bad example to use. Piece of. Can we? Okay, but anyway, back to your job.
my wonderful job. I truly do love it. I'm really grateful for it.
That we will not name.
But what?
That we will not name.
Yes, that we will not name.
Tropical smoothie.
A, for legal rights, because I love my job. I want to keep my job. I don't want to get sued. Please, I love you guys.
Tropical smoothie.
But
It's Smoothie King. I'm sorry, y'all. A spoiler alert. It's Smoothie King.
It's Smoothie King. It is Smoothie King. But the way when I treat people with kindness at my job, and when I'm just a friendly face, not overly friendly, not creepy friendly, like, hi, how are you today? Are you good? Are you good? Are you fine? Are you fine? How are you? Are you okay? Are you okay? Why do you have not weird?
How's your
When I'm
pulse?
just genuinely kind of like, hey, how you doing today? Is there anything I can get you? Like, how you feeling? How's your day been? What's one good thing about your day? Like, when I treat someone with kindness, I see it, how it changes a person.
Yeah.
And I've seen a person go from having a horrible day to, like, I'm going to use an example because I got to bless a lady where she ordered, like, one thing. So we have a policy where it's a kindness card where we get to bless someone with a free item just because we see, like, this person needs a little kindness in their life. I gave her a kindness card, and her demeanor, she almost broke down. She's like, I just had a really, really rough day, and proceeded to tell me about it. And just listening to her and making her order for her, and just getting it ready, and just not going into too much detail of, like, not being intrusive or not trying to say, oh, I understand, like, I understand what you're going to do, but just being a kind face and saying, hey, it's okay, like, you've got this, girl, you can pull it together, you've got this, like, just doing that and being that person for her. She was like, can I just give you a hug? And, like, it was just such a sweet, sweet moment, but the kindness that I showed her in that moment turned her day around to where she now, like, she walked away with a better perspective, and I'm not hyping myself up. But I'm really not. I can't change anybody's mood. I can't change how they're feeling. But she walked out with her shoulders back. She didn't look so stressed and frazzled. So I think the way I treated her made her day at least a little bit better. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I've seen the power of kindness. It works. Try to tell me it doesn't, and I will prove you wrong.
It's like that commercial, the Pine Sol commercial, where like that's the power of kindness. Like, that's all I could think about in my head is that Pine Sol commercial. It's like, that's the power of Pine Sol, baby. And I'm like, yes.
You know you're Southern when
Oh my gosh, I love that lady. I don't know who that black lady is in the Pine Sol commercial. Like, I don't know her name, but God, if I could meet her one day, like,
God bless her.
I feel like it would bless me so much. Like, I really do. Like, I wanted to meet what's his name? Oh my gosh, what is his name? Well, it'll come to me in a little bit. I can't think of it because of the fact that I'm like trying to think of 30 things at one time. But when it comes to me, I'm going to scream. But anyway, it's literally piecing itself together, and I'm like trying not to just like figure it out. But I almost said Bill Murray, but it's not him. It's not him at all.
You're trying to give Bill Murray credit where he's.
What's up, guys? It's your host, Detavius. So I actually have planned to split this in two, and that is why you're hearing this now. And so the next episode should be following after this one, and of course it will be labeled. But I wanted to split this into two just to kind of space it out enough to where it's not like one super duper long episode. I might do this in the future, or I might just start making them depending on how they roll out, just one specific episode. But I wanted to kind of give you an update and also do an outro for this and not just leave the outro high and dry. But thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to share with your friends, request, comments, all that good stuff. You can also find us on, if you're listening to this, you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, and hopefully, Apple Podcasts, and maybe some other places. Not sure yet. But if you have any requests, you can email us at breakersofbreadpodcast@gmail.com, or you can simply just go to my Instagram at kneeblack, KNEEBLACK, or comment on YouTube under the comments section, of course, where all the videos will be. And just a quick update, some of them may or may not have footage, but most of them should, and if not, then there'll probably be a graphic, just a little tidbit. But again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this episode, and the next one should be right above or below this one. Thank you again, and peace, drink water, and have a blast.